The Develop module is really where the art and craft of photography inside of Lightroom takes place, especially now as we're capturing our images more and more frequently in this RAW format, because as you know, those RAW files are just a bit dull. And so it's the Develop module where we're going to go in order to really bring our images to life. And you know what? You're going to spend the majority of your time in Lightroom inside of the Develop module working with these panels over here on the right. Now, because of this, I thought it'd be worthwhile to take a few minutes to talk about a few shortcuts that you can use in order to navigate in these panels and in this module. So in order to do that, I want to pull up a slide and I want to highlight a few navigation shortcuts here for you. Well, one of the things that you'll notice is that we have a number of different panels on the right, histogram all the way down to camera calibration. Well, there's a great shortcut that we can use to open and close these different individual panels. And here's what it is. On a Mac, if you press Command, on Windows, if you press Control and then 0, that will toggle open or close the first panel. And then the rest of the panels are as follows. Here you can see Basic is 1, Tone Curve is 2. What I want to do is zoom in on this in order to make this even a little bit more clear here. Now, once we remove all of the other information, you can see that what we're going to do is press Command on a Mac, Control on Windows, and then 0 through 8, or however many panels we have on the right-hand side in whatever module we're in. We're going to press this shortcut. That shortcut will then toggle open or close that particular panel. Now, because navigating the panels is so significant, so important, I recommend you pause this movie. You take a minute and you jot down these different numbers and which panel they're associated with so that you can start to learn these shortcuts. All right, well, let me show you how we can actually work with these shortcuts inside of Lightroom. Here, I'll navigate back to Lightroom. And let's say that what I want to do with this image is I want to first convert this to black and white. There are a couple of different ways that I can do this, but one way that I like to convert to black and white is to use the black and white panel here. Now, if I want to use the shortcut to open up that panel, all that I need to do is to press Command on a Mac, Control on Windows, and then the number 3. That will then open up this panel. And here I'll click on black and white. And now that I've chosen black and white, I can modify these sliders in order to create a different type of a black and white conversion, perhaps a little bit more brightness there. Well, now that I've completed this black and white conversion, I want to go back to the basic panel, and I want to work there. Press Command or Control and the number 1. I'll go ahead and do that now. Here you can see it opened up my basic panel. And in this case, I'll add a little bit more fill light and perhaps a little bit of contrast. All right, well, so far, so good. Yet one of the problems that you may be noticing is that I now have a panel which is open and visible, but it's way down here. Well, you can, of course, grab this scroll bar and scroll down, or you can hover over this area. And if you have a 3-button mouse, you simply can use that scroll wheel and you can scroll down and then make any other changes that you want to make in regards to this particular panel. All right, well, what about closing panels? Well, you can also close panels by using the same shortcut. So here I'll press Command on a Mac, Control on Windows, and then 3, and you'll see that that will toggle that black and white panel closed. Well, what about the basic panel? Same thing. Again, Command or Control 1, and we can open or close that panel. Now you might be thinking, gosh, isn't there an even better way to work with these panels? And there is. What we can do is we can change our view to solo mode. And what solo mode allows us to do is to just have one panel open at once. Let me show you what I mean. Well, here I'm going to go ahead and open up Tone Curve and Basic. We have 2 panels visible. Now, that's kind of hard because I'm going to have to scroll a lot. It's not going to really make a lot of sense in regards to navigation or working in this module. So what you can do is hold down Option on a Mac, Alt on Windows, and then click on this little triangle icon, any of the triangle icons for any of the panels. Click it once. And what you'll see is that when you click on that, it will change to an icon which is made out of dots. Well, now what will happen is it will only allow you to have one panel open at a time. For example, if I either click to open a panel, say like Tone Curve, it will then close whatever else is open and just open that panel that I clicked on. Or I can also use my shortcut keys. Let's say, for example, that I want to add a bit of a vignette to this image. So here, I'll go ahead and press Command or Control 6. That goes to my Lens Corrections panel. Now here I can use these lens vignetting controls, and I can try to darken up those corners a bit in order to create this lens vignette effect. It's a subtle little effect, but I kind of like that. Well, now that I'm all the way down here in Lens Corrections, what I want to do is go back to my basic panel. Now, you know that there are a couple of ways to do this, right? We can either scroll with the scroll bar. We could do that. We could hover over one of the panels and then use a scroll wheel if we have a 3-button mouse. Or we could use one of these new shortcuts that we've learned. For example, the shortcut for the basic panel is Command or Control 1. Now that we're here, we could make a few other adjustments in order to make this image even better. All right, well, as you can see, these shortcuts are actually quite helpful. At first, they may be a little bit confusing, but eventually, you'll start to integrate them into your workflow. They'll help you speed up your workflow, and ultimately, they'll help you come up with some creative results in regards to how you process and develop your photographs. Well, because these shortcuts are so valuable, I want to pull up that slide one more time just to highlight this, that what we can do is to navigate to these different panels. We press Command on a Mac, Control on Windows, and then one of these numbers, 0, all the way through 8.